Hey, welcome back to my channel. So today we've got a cool little video. It's a video that I recorded back in October when I went to the Summit of Greatness in Columbus, Ohio. Hey everyone, how are you doing? So today, as you can see, we're in a hotel. We're in Columbus, Ohio at the moment, attending the Summit of Greatness, which is a 3-day event hosted by Lewis Howes, and it's absolutely incredible. And there should be a separate video on my channel about the Summit of Greatness. I've created a little vlog, just sort of documenting the whole journey and what that experience was like. So that should already be up on my channel, or it'll be up there soon. So it'll either be before or after this video, whichever way I edit them. So look out for that. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. But anyway, today's video is all about personal branding and how to set up a personal brand, the fundamentals of it, and particularly on a platform like Instagram. Today I met up with Tony Whatley, who I've spoken to quite a bit online. He's an excellent business owner, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and best-selling author as well. Networked online, spoken. I wrote the music for his podcast that he's recently launched, 365 Driven. And it's a great podcast. Check that out at some point. And yeah, some of you asked me to tell you about personal branding and how to set up a personal brand, you know, what to do on Instagram, Facebook, what do you need to do, who is a personal brand for, that kind of thing. So I just thought this video would be really valuable for you guys. So it's not just me talking with my experience of what I've experienced in the past year or so, but it's everything that Tony can actually share to you, as someone who's an expert in this field. But today we've got an interview with Tony Whatley, an Amazon #1 best-selling author. He's also a business coach and mentor. He's a business owner who created multiple businesses and sold them for a lot of money. His book that's on Amazon is called Side Hustle Millionaire, and actually I've got a copy of it here. Let me show you what it looks like. Here we go. That's what it looks like. That is his book. Okay, so Side Hustle Millionaire. You can check it out on Amazon. It's a really good, quick read if you've ever wanted to set up some sort of side business or anything like that, but you've not been sure how to do it, or if you don't think you have the time, this shows you exactly how you can do it step by step. It's a good, quick read. I'll link it down below where you can check it out on Amazon. But anyway, let's get to the interview. Some of you asked me on here, on Instagram, Facebook and stuff like that. Some people wanted to know more about personal branding. So I thought I would just do this interview with someone who's built a good personal brand, who is, still building a personal brand, and he's done really well. He's grown over 5,000 followers in a year on Instagram, I believe. So it's really interesting. Again, he uses no fancy equipment. He just uses his phone. So I think you're going to get a lot of inspiration from this, and you can see how you could maybe do the same if this is something you've been interested in for a while. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy the interview and you get a lot of value from it, and let me know what you think. Here we go.
Good day, 365 Driven Entrepreneurs. Tony here. I'm with Tom Hawk. He came over from England and we met together for the first time. He's in the 365 Driven group as well. And he's a composer, he's a musician. He actually helped write the theme music for my podcast show, Custom Music. It was really good. And it was good. Glad to finally meet him. You know, we've actually been talking probably almost a year now, just chit-chatting, and we're both in Inner Circle. It's Lewis Howes Inner Circle paid group, and that's what this event is. We're here for the Summit of Greatness. It's in Columbus, Ohio, and very cool event. It's going to really just getting fired off. So tomorrow is the first day of the actual event, and Tom wanted to do an interview and just talk about personal branding, so I'll let him take the show here.
Yes, so my background, I'm a composer, and I'm looking to work within the Hollywood industry, within trailer music for Hollywood films. When you're sitting in the cinema, the music that's there on the trailers. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because obviously I'm in the Inner Circle with Lewis Howes and invested in other courses from Lewis and other people on personal branding, social media, that kind of stuff. And I think there's a real lack of information within personal branding for musicians and composers, because I feel a lot of composers think that to build a personal brand, you have to be an entrepreneur or a motivational speaker. And it's just, there's not many people doing it within music. So I thought it would be really valuable to you guys in Tony's group, also valuable to the people in the TMA Mastermind group, and those of you that watch my YouTube channel. I just thought this would be a really good opportunity to talk about personal branding, what Tony's thoughts are on it, you know, what can you do, what's the best tactics for Instagram and Facebook, for those of you that asked in the TMA group. Yeah, I just thought this would be a really good opportunity to meet up, do a video, and then bring value to two different types of audiences as well.
Yeah, we got a few different cameras going on over here. You just guys don't see those. It's going to be kind of interesting, but it's kind of fun at the same time. And man, I'd like to preface by You mentioned just now that not everybody thinks there's a value in having a personal brand, and it's amazing that how many people think that. They think that you have to be a celebrity to have a personal brand, or you really got to put yourself out there and be an extrovert to have a personal brand.
Yeah.
But what I'll give you I'll share a statement that a podcast guest actually came on my newest podcast. It was AJ Adams, and he's another personal branding expert, and he said one line that was very compelling, because I asked him if the exact same question you just did. Do you have to be outgoing, or can anyone have a personal brand?
Sure.
And his response was awesome. It was like, Tom, everybody has a personal brand, but it's whether you're actively building that personal brand or you're allowing everyone else to define who your personal brand is.
Awesome.
So if you're thinking out there and you're a musician and you're thinking like, I'm just going to let my music do the speaking for me, like there's a lot of people out there who are doing the same quality of music as you, but they're going one step above and they're creating that personal brand to become more recognizable to the industry. So you either take an active role in defining who you are and what your personal brand is, or the rest of the society and the market, they're going to dictate who you are.
Absolutely. And I think for those of you in the TMA group, for those of you that are now writing music and applying to work with different trailer music companies, and it works in other industries as well. When you apply to work with those companies, or if you're in business and you're looking to do a business deal with someone or partner up with different companies on affiliate commissions to feature your stuff or whatever, people are going to check you out on social media. It doesn't matter how good your music is or how good your supplement product is. They're going to check out what is, especially if it's a personal brand, it's not a company, they're going to check you out. What are you like? What's your personality like? Because they can, through social media, if you're very active, they can quickly figure out who you are as a person, what your energy is like, and if you don't have that, if you have a very almost inactive social media presence and you're just sharing your music, for example, people can't really understand what you're like, what you're going to be like to work with. And I think that applies to all industries, really, that social media, if you utilize it and build up a personal brand for yourself, and again, it doesn't mean you have to have hundreds of thousands of followers to have a good personal brand. Yeah. It just means that when someone looks at your social media, they instantly know who you are, what you're about, and more than just the product that you offer, but what you are as a person. So if they wanted to work with you, it's not just about your skills. They want to know what you're like as a person. What's the relationship going to be like with you if they work with you? Yeah,
a good point to take off of that is that people do the research, people do the Facebook creeping, they go look at your profile, they figure out what you're about. And the good thing about that is if you actually put a lot of effort into building yourself and improving things and being more active, that's what they're going to realize, that, hey, this person actually goes above and beyond what he could or he or she could do. I mean, if you're, from the music aspect, if you're just creating this beautiful music, I'll compare that to an analogy of writing a book, okay? You could write the very best book in the world, but if nobody knew where it was, it wouldn't matter. Yeah. So if you want to create that audience to get the music out there, to get more people to listen to what you're doing, and also to listen not only to your music but your words and your the vibe that you bring, you have to put some effort into building your personal brand. And it doesn't mean you need to go out there and be a showman and thinking like a circus kind of thing. Absolutely. It's just build the brand, build the persona, build the appearance, build the mannerisms, build the level of respect. Yeah. And you can command that in the room. So you can actually be an introvert. There's a lot of people out there who can coach you and become better at just building your personal brand. We can get on point with, this is what I want to accomplish. Well, here's what we need to do to get there. So I need you to work on this, this, and this. So they'll give you actionable steps. And they'll say, like, well, I want to dress nicer. Like, well, let's go get you a wardrobe. Let's start to do that, build that visual. So it's very important, and people will do their Facebook creeping. They will do their Google searches. They will look you up. Absolutely. It's too easy nowadays. And if you don't exist, it's almost like a red flag, to be honest. It's like, where is this guy? He's not on social media. It's 2018. Another thing as well, with something that I heard Gary Vee say recently, is that with social media, it doesn't mean you have to do video like we're doing right now. If you're better at putting pictures up on Instagram, even if it is a selfie of you or what you're working on, or a video of your music rather than you, if you're better at writing than talking on video, then just write something. Make your captions more than just new track I'm working on, or excited to release this product next month. Make it, tell a story behind it. What was the journey to get to that point? What did you try different to achieve this kind of thing? Make it, that can be the side of your personal brand. And that was really interesting. What Gary Vee says is choose, if you're better at written word, do written word. If you're great at video and photo, do that. If you're better at audio, because you like speaking but you don't like being on camera,
then start with audio and then maybe progress to video or whatever. So podcasts again. And like you said with the book thing, it's look at like here at the Summit of Greatness, everyone here who is selling a book is a public speaker. And it's not that they wrote books before they were public speakers, but again, like you said, through being a public speaker, motivational speaker, they can reach such a bigger audience, sell more of their books, but also make a bigger impact with their books through that public speaking.
Man, that's a good point. I lived that. That was the course of my life the last year and a half. I actually knew that I wanted to write a book, and I had this story in my head. I knew I was going to be able to help people create their first businesses, build a mindset and the confidence. But in order for me to be the right person to market that book and actually promote the book and do podcasts and live interviews and do these things, I had to get better at speaking. And I was not good at that the public speaking thing. So I actually joined Toastmasters in June of 2017, and I started doing videos on Instagram just to practice my speeches and things like that, and they're awful. I'm never going to delete those. So if you guys are watching this, you want to go look on 365 Driven on Instagram, and you'll find back, if you can scroll back to the June era or my Facebook page, 365 Driven, you'll find like all my old videos, and those are always going to be there because I want to have things that I could show people that I'm helping, like, hey,
absolutely,
you can change. Like, go watch my old videos, compare them to now, and it's not the same person. I was the same person inside, but I had these issues of worrying about what other people thought about me, the judgmental thing, and that's what most people worry about, is they worry about what other people think about them. So what you're gonna have to get over is like not worrying about critics, because if you don't have any critics, it means you're just not doing anything extraordinary enough to be noticed. So you gotta get over that and just keep working and just do what you need to do. Stay on point, stay on mission. But that was the thing, is I actually became a public speaker before I wrote my book, because I knew that this is the version of Tony that I needed to be. How do I get to that point? Like, got to get better at speaking, got to get better at doing this, got to get better at building another personal brand, reinventing yourself, being not afraid to be reinventing yourself. And that's what I've done the last year and a half, and it's working out really well. I did eventually write that book. For the people that don't know me, and it became a #1 bestseller in the week that it opened up on Amazon. So the marketing is very important. Building that brand is very important.
And I think, again, if you hadn't done all of that public speaking training, posting content, even building your audience, but building that connection, and so that people feel like they know you through your social media content. When you launch that book, everyone's like, hell yeah, I know Tony, I know his story, I know what he's about through his social media content. I'm going to go pre-order that and help him out, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
And I think that's definitely, would you say that's helped your success
Definitely.
with the book?
The marketing. I actually started marketing that book before I wrote the first word. So there's a strategy to do that. I mean, you don't just luck out and hit #1. There's a strategy, and there's a lot of people out there willing to teach you these things. You just got to ask the questions and figure out how to do that. So you got to set goals. Anytime you create something, whether you're creating a new music piece or anything, you have goals for that music. Like, this is where I envision for this song, and it's going to be used in this aspect, and these people are the key audience that I need to write it for. And so you start to think about these goals, and then you cater to everything to work towards those goals. And you may even start marketing. Like, let's say you're building your next masterpiece music score, and you're like, this is where I want it to be. You start to think with the end in mind, and then you start to market that before you even get to the finish line. And now, you know how it is with music. Sometimes you listen to something and it's not love at first hearing, but if you've done enough marketing and they've built into it, they start to become familiar. And when people become familiar with songs, because Lord knows there's a lot of crappy songs out there on the radio that people just associate because it's become familiar, because the radio stations keep pummeling it into their head. So they'll tell you, like, even things that aren't the greatest, like, still have a lot of popularity, like potential, but it's marketing. It's just all about marketing.
And that's it. Like you said earlier, it's just whether you're in music or public speaking business, if people don't know about it, it's not going to get heard or bought or whatever. If it's, even if it is the best thing ever. So now I just want to ask you, with your journey would you say you really started, for example, your Instagram account, would you say you really started posting more content and consistently and building your brand on there, personal brand on there? Would you say that was around June last year? Or was it before then, or roughly?
June of last year is when I actually had an Instagram for about a year prior to that. But all I was posting was car photos, because most people know me as just this car guy, and I attend a lot of car events. And I said, you know what, this is kind of pointless. It's just like an online photo gallery. It's not really adding any value. People can look at cars anywhere. I said, you know what my real passion is actually business and helping other people become more confident to start their first company, perhaps. And I said, and I actually made a statement on my Instagrams, like from this day forward, you'll be seeing like all kinds of things, like my life. Like now my Instagram is basically following my life.
Yeah.
And I post anything, any kind of thought I have, or cars that I like, or what I'm doing that day. Like it became just really a picture catalog of what I'm doing.
It's a really good example of what a good personal brand looks like.
Yeah.
How many followers are you up to now on Instagram?
Oh man, it's just under 8,000, I think.
Which is amazing to say that you've done that in the year, and that's with your consistent posting.
Yeah, it was 3,000 before I started doing that.
Yeah, so that's incredible. And again, back to all of this, it's not about how many followers you have, or it's more about the quality of it. So if if you're someone who posts photos, like you said, of cars or things like that. I have a friend who posts photos of football. And he has a lot of followers. He has about 17,000 followers on that page. Yeah. But the quality of followers, there is no real connection. They are there just to see those photos, and it's a little pastime, but there's no quality.
Engagement.
So, yeah, exactly. And it's that kind of thing. So whereas if you have just 500 to 1,000 engaged followers that actually are there following you for your content and you're adding value to them, you can do much more with that than with a bigger following.
Yeah, I would rather have 1,000 actual followers that engage and actually participate in discussions and support what you're doing than 100,000 people who really do nothing.
Yeah. So if someone's looking to start a personal brand, what would you recommend if they're not sure about what Facebook is, Instagram or YouTube, and they don't know necessarily what's the best thing for them? How would you recommend that they look at it and base it on their situation?
I would say the number one and number two are Facebook and Instagram. They're the same company. That if you guys don't know, Facebook owns both of them. But I would say that if you're someone that's visual minded and you take really good photos and you can write these nice captions and little miniature stories, if you can write stories in like 3 or 4 paragraphs to teach a lesson or teach somebody about you, Instagram's probably the better platform for you because it's just more visual. And to me, Instagram's actually a happier place. Yep. I think Facebook has a lot of drama, a lot of people airing out a bunch of nonsense and just a lot of distractions on Facebook, where Instagram is something that you actually surf when you're like in a state of like enjoyment.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
So with Facebook, you have to use a little bit more strategy because of the distractions that are on there. You can get sucked into that black hole or chase that rabbit down the hole and just get stuck on Facebook, and you look up and it's been like 3 or 4 hours like, holy crap, I didn't do anything today because I've been surfing Facebook.
Yeah.
So I would say that if you're starting out, you just got to show up. The main thing is consistency. So here's the thing that I want to tell you about. Like, there's going to be a period for probably between 3 to 6 months. If you really start becoming consistent, you're creating at least one post. I would say shoot for 3 posts a day.
And on Instagram.
On Instagram or even Facebook. You want to look at your metrics. And for most people who are not like you're not working at night at a DJ, right? Your general crowd on those 2 platforms, usually around 9 a.m. it starts to pick up, and then it kind of peaks around lunchtime again because people are surfing the internet at lunch. And then around 8:30 p.m. is usually when people start to get back on there right before bed. Sure. So if you know those three active points, you can create a post around those times, and you'll get the most engagement on that. More people will likely see that, so it's a good thing to do. Now, with doing that, you got to just be consistent. And here's the problem: what most people quit. They start doing the social media branding. They start building their personal brand, and they're not getting traction. They're not seeing like you're comparing someone to that's like a superhero on, man, this guy gets 100 replies, like I'm only getting like 1. Yeah. And they start to get discouraged because they're comparing. You got to get away from comparing, because here's what the thing is: the psychology of most people is they want to see you actually put in the work and prove yourself. So what I would call is there's this honeymoon phase of anybody building that personal brand, where I would say the first 3 to 6 months that you're really showing consistency, you may not get anybody responding except for maybe your really best friend or your mom or dad, right? And you have to see that through, because in our society, we see so many people just that flash in the pan. They show up and they go really hard and you're like, oh, this guy's awesome. And then they disappear. Yeah. Like after a month, they're like, where'd he go? Like they disappeared. People take note of that. And they're like, okay, this guy, I'm not going to invest any more time in this guy or girl because they already led me on before and then they disappeared. Like, I'm not going to support people who are kind of flaky.
Sure, yeah.
So they start to gravitate to the people who never quit and they keep showing up. And it was probably honestly about 6 months for me to start to see the traction come in, because I was starting to get the reward of actually showing up every day, being consistent, creating messages, creating value, adding help to people, answering their questions. Whenever they make a response, be sure to respond back. That's how people build engagement. It's having a conversation.
It's people like Lewis Howes now, who's over 500,000 followers on Instagram. He still replies to as many people as he can with the time, and he gets thousands of comments on his photos. But to see someone like at his level still responding to you or responding to the DMs that he gets on Instagram, that just makes you like that person so much more.
Yeah.
And that's it's really important to do, because if you respond to everyone, it's like, imagine you're standing in a room and 5 people comment on something you just said and you don't respond to them. It's kind of like that almost, and on a digital version.
Exactly. And I'll tell you that there's even when that buys you so many more points than just creating posts all the time.
Yeah.
Because there's other influencers that you and I both follow, and I won't mention any names, but I do follow some other influencers, and they don't engage back, and I actually think less of them, and I hold Lewis at a higher regard, and that's why I'm in Columbus, Ohio right now, because Lewis does take care of people, and he does respond, and he does make you feel like you're part of his family. And that's amazing. And that's something that I want to build my own brand after that, is just always maintain that. Always remember that. No matter how big you are, you always have to give back and just interact with people. Just be a human, be relatable. Tell your vulnerabilities, tell your stories. Building a personal brand is not just talking about your highlight reels. Most people think, well, my life's not that interesting, and I don't have all these stories, or I don't have this adversity moment. I don't have this, but most people just want to be related to. So if you're telling something that they can relate to, whether that's a struggle that you've gone through, or you're learning something, or this challenge, or whatever, share the bad and the good, and you're going to get a lot more followers.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you were just saying, it's personal brand. It's again, when I first started it, I overcomplicated it so much, and it's it needs to be this clean, polished thing. You need to take excellent photos. But if you're a photographer or a videographer, fair enough, that is your personal brand. Make amazing photos on your DSLR camera. But if you look at your social media, like you said, you're documenting everything, but it is iPhones or Samsung. Just your phone will do the job. It will do the job. And when you're just getting started, you don't need to worry about the tech side of it. It's just about getting started, finding how you can add value, and like you said, being consistent with it. And
just tell a little story. Every day, just fire up the camera. And if you're worried about making videos, you shouldn't be. It just takes practice. It's really odd at first talking to an electronic device and this little bitty lens right here, and trying to figure out, am I having a conversation? And initially your videos will be kind of strange, because you're going to be looking around and and not knowing where to look. But after you get enough practice and you realize that if I look straight at the lens, I'm going to build a connection with the viewer, because the impact of that video is so much more powerful when you actually look at the lens. And just some things like that you actually stick in your mind. And with the more practice, you get more confidence, and it just gets easier, like anything, right? It's anything you do, it gets easier and easier.
It's anything. It's it's a skill like any other. It's not a natural talent. No one's born with being a great creating content, because it's so unnatural. This isn't normal. Talking to a camera is not what we're used to as humans. So it is strange, but again, it's the more and more you do it, it becomes washing up. You don't need to think about it, you just do it. And that's it really.
And you can always hit delete. Make a bunch of practice videos. You can make videos all day long on your phone, and you can just delete which ones you don't want. And you may actually have one that you lucked out and you go, man, that's a pretty good video. And that's the one you share, and you just keep doing that.
And that's it. For those of you that are in the music space that might be wondering, well, how can I create interesting content for people who want to find my music? Well, here's how much content you can create from one thing. So say you release a new 3-minute track that's a new trailer piece you've worked on or something. You release that, put it on SoundCloud or YouTube and all those places, and you redirect people from your Instagram to that. That's one post, and that can just be a video of you talking about it. Then another post can you be previewing that track, 30 seconds of it, the best 30 seconds, or something just before the big drop, and then tell them to go listen to the full thing to hear more about it. Then you can do another post talking about how you actually created that track, or a specific technique within that track. Then you can talk about, again, how you created it, but also what tools you used, what techniques, what sample libraries, whatever, that kind of stuff. There's so much. If you really think about it, you can create so many different pieces of content
from one piece of music.
It's like, and it's the same thing here. We're at this event and we're both creating so many different types of content around one thing. You could just do the standard, hey, I'm going to vlog this all and that's it. But we're doing that. We're doing these interview chats or whatever. And there's just so much more that you can, when you really think about it, there's so much content you can do around one thing.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't have to be long. You can do 1 to 3 minute videos and those go by pretty quick. Just share one point. A lot of people will make a video and they get into too many points and it gets complicated and they start to lose track. So what we would recommend is just think about, like, I'm going to make a video. What point would I want to make in this video? And just like write a sentence down, like 1 or 2 minute sentence of what you're going to talk about. Just kind of keep your mind on track, and then just fire up the camera and make a little video of it. You know, and that's as simple as that.
That's it, yeah. So I think that's really the fundamentals of starting a personal brand, isn't it? You know, just creating the content, finding out how to create multiple types of content from one single event or piece of content, like a song or something. Being consistent, like you said, not worrying about the technology, just doing it, and like, consistency again. That's still something I still struggle with every now and then. If something, you know, we're working on a trailer music pitch or something and there's so much time, like 8 hours a day spent on that, it's, you know, for a week, and then I'm like, oh my god, I didn't post on Instagram or my YouTube video, because again, I aim for one good YouTube video on YouTube, because it's more work than it is for Instagram. So if you're just looking to get started with a personal brand, Instagram is amazing for that, because you can create it so quickly.
Yeah, you'll probably laugh at this, because I know that you guys share this in common with, like, I'm an engineer, you're a musician, so we both have this perfection nature.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
everything needs to be perfect, but you got to throw that stuff out the window. Like if you wait until things are perfect, you're never going to start, because there's no such thing. So here's what you got to think about. You got to think of everything that you create content-wise from the perspective of your audience, not yourself. Even though I might want to be perfectionist in doing certain things, and you maybe want to be a perfectionist because you're a perfectionist in the music industry, but you have to understand that from the perspective of the audience who's consuming the content, they're not going to care so much, because they've already been trained that people can make cool content with their phone and just walk around, and the camera can be a little bit shaky, and they're not going to judge because they're listening to the message, or maybe they're looking at the background, or they're glad that you're sharing an event that you're at, or what you're doing, or the insight that you have in your mind.
Absolutely.
So there's all these things you can share. You don't have to worry about the perfection of the content. So make sure you just build the content, but don't worry about the quality, but you want to show up the quantity of consistency. So you just want to show up every single day, fire it up. And if you think that's going to hurt your schedule, the good thing about recorded videos is you can make a few in one day and just release them. You can sit down for an hour and make a whole week's worth of videos, short videos, and then you can actually go through your Facebook and you can actually program those to release to certain apps, and they'll schedule a release each of those days. So you don't have to like think about like the burden of, I'm going to do this every day.
Every single day, you can do it.
You know, if you guys are watching me, I'm about to do 30 videos in a row. So I hope you guys have been seeing the little clip ones. I've been actually having fun. I'm learning a new app, and I'm putting these little videos together, and it's InShot, right?
InShot, free as well.
Yeah, it's a free app.
You can add it all on your phone.
You can add your own music to the background. That's a cool thing. And,
that's it.
So,
absolutely. And I think that's it, really. I think the fundamentals of personal branding, starting out. That's where you need to get started. So I hope you guys got value from this. For those of you that aren't in Tony's group, I'll link it below. It's the 365 Driven group. And what would you say it's about, really?
It's an entrepreneur and success-minded group. So you can also listen to my podcast, 365 Driven Podcast. It's on iTunes, Google Play, all the big names. And it's basically, my fundamental bases are the mindset, wealth and success, health and relationships. So we try to focus on those key cornerstones to make a balanced entrepreneur, because I don't believe in just being successful but unhealthy, or successful and like negative mindset. Like, these are all the things that I try to help other people with.
And I think it directly relates to music. Like, that's why I've been so interested in this, is that you know, I go to courses or, you know, different mentors in trailer music or composition and learn about the actual music and how to make money as a musician, but there's all this other side to it that's not taught, and that's the mindset, the physical fitness, the mental well-being. All of that, no matter what industry you're in, all of that can apply to everything. So I think a lot of you guys would get value from that. And like you said, you run different challenges within your Facebook group. to get people comfortable on doing live video or any kind of video. So I think some of you guys who might be a little bit uncomfortable with making videos, I think this would be like a great little boot camp to get you interested and trying out different things, talking about yourself, your personal brand. So I'll definitely link to that and you can check that out. Yeah,
365 Driven Entrepreneurs on Facebook. Just look it up and apply, and we'll look at you and add you in there. And just if you're one of Tom's contacts, just say Tom referred you in the questionnaire, and then we'll get you added.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
cool. Thank you for being at the video. Yeah,
thanks for watching. Hey, Mitchell, hello. Thank you for watching, Mitchell.
Awesome.
All right,
see you guys.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for watching. If you got any value from this, please hit the like button below and let me know in the comments what was the biggest takeaway for you from this video. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and if you're not subscribed already, then click that subscribe button because I've got some exciting content coming out soon. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. See you guys.